You look around and realize your friends aren't doing the things they always did anymore. They stop. They give up. They let age dictate what they can or can't do. You see people your age sitting in chairs, just waiting. And you wonder, when did they decide to stop living? When did life become just a matter of surviving until the next day? I'm 72, and I still do 5 things my friends no longer can. Not because I'm better, stronger, or luckier, but because one day, 17 years ago to the day, I almost lost everything. And that day, I learned something most people only discover too late, or never discover at all. The difference between aging and just getting old isn't in the body, it's in the head. And it's in the choices you make every single day, even when it hurts, even when it seems impossible, even when everyone around you has already thrown in the towel. I was 55 when I woke up on the kitchen floor. My wife found me passed out. And when I opened my eyes in the hospital, the doctor told me my heart had given a warning, a serious warning. He talked about changes, about slowing down, about accepting limitations. And I looked at him and thought, is this it? Is this how it starts? You get a scare and decide it's over? In that moment, lying in that hospital bed, I saw my future. I saw 2 paths. One path where I accepted my body was betraying me, where I stopped doing the things I loved because they were difficult or risky. And another path, more frightening, where I fought, where I didn't let a number define who I was. I chose the second path. And it was the best and hardest decision of my life. The first thing I still do, and that I see my friends abandon one by one, is wake up early and move. Every day, no exceptions. I'm not talking about expensive gyms or fancy equipment. I'm talking about getting out of bed when your body screams to stay put, about walking when your legs ache, about stretching when every movement feels like torture. My friends tell me I'm crazy, that at our age we deserve to rest. Rest. That word has become an excuse to die slowly. I see them sitting on the couch, complaining about their aches, their stiffness, their lack of energy. And I want to scream, you think I don't feel pain? You think my body doesn't protest every morning? The difference is I get up anyway, because I discovered something nobody tells you when you're young. The body you don't use, you lose. It's not poetic. It's not philosophical. It's pure physics. You either move it or it rusts. There's no in between. I have a friend, Robert. We were like brothers. We played soccer together, we walked, we hiked. 5 years ago, he fell and injured his knee. Nothing serious, a strain. The doctor told him to rest for 2 weeks. Robert rested for 2 months, then 3. Then he just stopped. Today, he can barely climb a flight of stairs without getting winded. He's 70 and moves like he's 90. And you know what breaks my heart the most? He talks like it's inevitable, like age decided for him. But it wasn't age, it was his choice to stop. Every time I visit him, he looks at me with a mixture of admiration and resentment. He asks me how I still manage, and I want to tell him the truth, which is simple and brutal. I manage because I don't stop. I don't let one bad day turn into a bad week. I don't let a bad week turn into a month. Because I know that if I stop, I might never be able to get back up. The second thing I still do is learn new things. Things I don't have to learn, things that won't make me money or status. I learn because my brain needs to work as much as my body. Last year, I started learning Italian. Why? Because I always wanted to. Because at 71, I decided it's never too late. My friends laughed. They told me it was a waste of time, that I'd never become fluent, that at my age those things don't stick anymore. And maybe they're right. Maybe I'll never be fluent. But every week when I practice, when I struggle with those impossible verb conjugations, I feel my brain light up. I feel connections forming. I feel like I'm truly alive, not just breathing. There's a study I read once, I don't even remember where, that said people who stop learning new things start to decline cognitively much faster. It's not about getting Alzheimer's or dementia. It's about the brain going into power-saving mode. It's about giving up. I see it in my friends, the same routine, the same TV shows, the same conversations about the same topics. They've become echoes of themselves. And when I try to talk about something new I learned, I see that look that says, what for? Why bother? And I want to shake them and scream, because the alternative is to die inside while your body is still functioning. And you know what scares me the most? Seeing people who were brilliant, curious, vibrant turn into shadows, turn into people who only talk about the past, as if the future has already ended. I refuse. I refuse to accept that my life has already happened, and now I just have to wait for the end. As long as I have a day ahead of me, I'm going to try to learn something new. It could be a word in Italian. It could be a different recipe. It could be understanding how this crazy internet my grandkids use actually works. It doesn't matter. What matters is not letting my brain rust along with my body. Do you feel that? That sense that you're letting parts of yourself die because it seems easier? Have you also stopped trying new things because someone told you you're too old? Tell me in the comments here, what have you stopped doing because you thought it was too late? You can write it like this: I stopped learning about because I thought it was too late. No need for a lot of detail. But you know why this matters? Because when we admit these things, when we put them into words, maybe we realize we still have time to turn back. And your comment might wake someone else up too. So tell me, what have you given up on? The third thing I still do, and this might be the most important one, is maintain real connections with people. I'm not talking about liking photos on Facebook or sending good morning texts. I'm talking about phone calls, visits, looking people in the eye and asking them how they're really doing. My friends have been isolating themselves, some because they lost a spouse and didn't know how to navigate the world anymore, others because it became easier to stay home than to make the effort to go out. And I get it. I really do. There are days I want to stay in my own corner too, but I force myself not to, because loneliness kills. It's not an exaggeration. It's not dramatic. It's a medical fact. Isolated people die sooner, get sick faster, lose the will to live. I lost my wife 3 years ago. Cancer. Fast and brutal. And when she died, I thought it was over for me, too. I thought about locking myself at home, just existing until my body decided to stop, too. The first few months were like that. I barely went out, barely spoke to anyone. And you know what happened? I started to disappear. Not physically, but on the inside. I'd wake up and see no reason to get out of bed. I ate because I had to, not because I enjoyed it. It was my son who shook me up. He came to visit and didn't like what he saw. He told me something I'll never forget. He said, "Dad, Mom wouldn't want to see you like this. She'd want you to live, not just breathe." So I came back. Slowly, but I came back. I started calling old friends. I started accepting invitations even when I didn't feel like it. I joined a volunteer group at church, not because I'm religious, but because I needed purpose, people, connection. And it was one of the hardest things I've ever done, because when you're grieving, when you're broken, the last thing you want is to pretend you're okay in front of others. But you know what I discovered? That I didn't have to pretend, that people understood. That real connection isn't about being happy all the time. It's about being present. Today, I have a routine. Every week, I call at least 3 people, not to talk about football or the weather, to really talk, to find out how they're doing, what they're feeling, if they need anything. And every week, I leave the house to meet someone in person. Sometimes it's coffee, sometimes it's a walk, sometimes it's just sitting on a park bench and talking. My friends who've isolated themselves, they're wilting. I see it. I see the light dimming in their eyes. And when I try to pull them back into the world, some resist. They say it's too much effort, that it's not fun anymore, that people have changed. But people haven't changed. They've given up trying. The 4th thing I still do is have projects. Things I want to complete. Goals that make me get out of bed with a purpose. It doesn't have to be big. I don't need to be building a house or writing a book. But I need to have something on the horizon that pulls me forward. Right now, I'm redoing the backyard, slowly, because my body can't handle full days of heavy work. But every day, I do a little. Plant something, fix something, improve something. And when I'm done, I'll start something else. Because the death of many people I know started when they stopped having projects. When the future became just a sequence of identical days waiting for the inevitable. I had an uncle, Alfredo. He worked for 45 years at one company. He waited his whole life for retirement. He used to say that when he retired, he'd do everything he always wanted. He'd travel, he'd go fishing, he'd finally live. He retired at 65. He died at 67. You know what happened? Nothing. He didn't do anything, because when the time came, he no longer knew what he wanted. He'd spent so much time waiting that he forgot how to dream. He sat at home, watching TV, waiting, and his body simply gave up along with his mind. I swore it wouldn't be like that for me. I swore that as long as I have a day ahead of me, I'll have something to do, something to create, something to leave better than I found it. It might be small, it might be insignificant in the eyes of others. But to me, it's everything. It's the difference between being alive and just existing. My friends ask me why I try so hard. Why don't I relax, enjoy retirement? And I tell them I am enjoying it in my own way, doing things that matter to me. And the 5th thing, the hardest of all, is not being afraid to look ridiculous, to make mistakes, to try and fail, to be that old guy who still thinks he can do young people's things. My friends are ashamed to dance because they'll look silly, ashamed to try sports because they'll be slow, ashamed to flirt because they're too old, ashamed to dream because they're past their prime. And you know what that shame has done to them? It's turned them into statues, into people who stopped living so they wouldn't look ridiculous. Last month, I danced at a wedding, a song I loved when I was young. I danced alone at first because no one had the guts, and people laughed. I saw some laughing. But you know what else? I didn't care because I was having fun. I was feeling the music. I was alive. And little by little, other people started dancing too, because someone had to break the ice. Someone had to show that it's okay to look silly, to not be perfect, to just enjoy the moment. I've learned that the biggest thief of old age isn't illness. It's not bodily pain. It's the fear of judgment. It's the fear of trying something and failing, of exposing ourselves and being ridiculed. So we stop trying. We stop taking risks. And with that, we stop living. Because life is risk. Life is exposure. Life is trying and sometimes failing spectacularly. And if you're not willing to look ridiculous sometimes, you're choosing a slow, safe death over an imperfect but real life. I see my friends trapped in their own heads, trapped by what others will think, and I want to tell them, who are these others? They're people who are probably just as trapped as you are. They're people who deep down envy your courage, but don't have the guts to admit it. Stop living for the audience. The audience won't be at your funeral regretting that you didn't try enough. Only you will know in your final days if you truly lived or just existed in fear. Look, I know all this might sound easy when I say it like this. It might sound like I'm special, different, stronger, but I'm not. I'm scared every day. I'm in pain every day. I wake up with my body complaining. There are days I look in the mirror and see a tired old man. But I've chosen not to let that define me. I've chosen to fight, because the alternative is giving up. And giving up means dying slowly while I'm still breathing. If I could turn back time and talk to my 50-year-old self, here's what I'd say. Don't wait for a wake-up call. Don't wait for a brush with death to start living. Start now. Move your body every single day, even when it hurts. Learn new things, even when it feels tough. Nurture your connections, even when it's easier to be alone. Have projects, even small ones. And for heaven's sake, don't be afraid to look ridiculous. Because in the end, the only thing ridiculous is reaching the end of your life and realizing you never truly lived because you were too busy protecting an image. Today, at 72, I'm happier than I was at 50. Sounds crazy, right? Less time, more aches, more limitations, and happier. But it's true, because I've learned the real difference between being alive and just breathing. I've learned that age is just a number if you don't let it become a cage. I've learned that I can choose every single day whether to fight or give up. And as long as I have that choice, I'm going to choose to fight. My friends look at me with that strange mix of admiration and sadness. Some say they're proud of me. Others say I'm overdoing it, pushing too hard. But I know the truth. The truth is, they wish they had that same courage. They wish they could get off the couch and try again. But time has passed. Excuses have piled up, and now it feels too late. But it's not. It's never too late as long as you're still breathing. It's never too late to make a different choice. If you've made it this far, it's because something in this story resonated with you. Maybe you're seeing someone you love slowly giving up. Maybe it's you, the one giving up. This channel is for people who want to wake up, for people who want the raw truth, no sugarcoating, no magic promises. Subscribe here for more real stories, more lessons that only years can teach. Hit the like button if you felt like you needed to hear this today, and tell me in the comments, which of these 5 things have you stopped doing? Which one will you try again? I'd love to know my words made a difference. Time is ticking for me, for you, for everyone you love. The question is, what are you going to do with the time you have left?